Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Pretty well, pretty well. So our podcast is all about your journey in the music industry and how you got to where you are today.
Cool. It's a long journey.
Well, let's hear it. Let's start from the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
So all right. I'll give you the quick version, but I was born in Iceland.
Oh, wow.
And both my parents were in the Navy. But I was born off base, so I had dual citizenship until I was 18, and I had to choose where I wanted to live. But I lived in the States my whole life, basically. So when I was 5, we moved to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in like Detroit, really. Like that's where I grew up in like my adolescent age, I'd say. And then moved to Texas. Then moved back to Michigan. Then moved back to Texas. Then moved to Colorado.
All in your
Colorado.
like high school, pre-high school and stuff?
So high school age was in Colorado. So that was kind of where, I don't know, I feel like when you're in your high school age, it's where you really kind of come into your own a little bit.
Sure.
And I lived in a really rural area. I lived in like the southwest corner of Colorado, like by the Four Corners area.
Okay.
So that's 7 hours from Denver, 4 hours from Albuquerque, 6 hours from Salt Lake City, and 7 hours from Phoenix. So like it's really just like literally in the middle of nowhere. So the fact that I'm doing a podcast with somebody about a band I'm in is really weird to me, because growing up out there, that you don't ever see success stories as far as in any entertainment industry goes or anything like that. Like, I mean, and I know that we're like a super fresh band, and this level of success is nothing compared to what a lot of artists have, but this is honestly like one of the more successful things to come out of our little pocket of the US. But now I live in Washington.
Washington State?
Yeah, Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a whole crazy journey. But about I'd say 6 years ago, I finally like joined like a band that had already been touring once before. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, because Colorado at the time in my little rural area. And I ended up joining that band as like the vocalist / guitar player. And
how did you join the band?
Yeah. So like being from such a small area, it's just like, it's just everybody knows everybody. Any of like the local bands, like when I was in high school, like there's like 4 scene bands. We all sounded like the Delvoris Prada, like like the Word Alive. Like we all sounded kind of like those bands. And we all would play shows together, and like I don't know how to say it besides Hickville, USA. Basically, like that's where we're all from. And no disrespect or anything. I mean, every place has its vibe, but anyways, it's just kind of crazy because it's all these like alternative kids and like throwing shows in like towns with big R's, which is like a big country store. And I don't know, it's pretty funny. But anyways, we had all known each other. They were from a small town called Mancus that was by our town. And they had gone on a tour or whatever. I had gotten back from going to audio engineering school in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And then I moved out to LA. I worked in Malibu at a studio called Studio Malibu for about 2 years. I helped actually like build that studio, which is crazy because the guy that owned it wasn't paying me very well, because when you get out of audio engineering school, you go do free internships, and like
right.
This guy was so schemy. He was I don't mind saying that publicly. That sounds terrible. I'm not like that usually that type, but anyways. I was like, he's living in his dad's mansion and I'm driving up in my 97 Honda Accord, like with it beat up, barely making it to work. But anyways, they couldn't really last out in LA. So I moved back home. And so they knew about me and knew that I had moved back home, and they were having troubles with their vocalist. So I joined up with them. It was a band called Comeback. And it was just like pop punk meets Title Fight sort of stuff.
Cool.
Very DIY. Like, I recorded everything. I sucked at engineering at the time. So it was wild, but we ended up touring off of it, playing people's like living rooms, backyards, whatever. Like, it's just crazy. The DIY scene is insane. And I have a lot of respect for people who somehow navigate it, because it's really tough. But so joined that band. we got into a big fight outside of a venue up here in Washington, actually outside of this venue called the Charleston in Bremerton. Kind of realized that we weren't going to work out. So we finished the tour together, but when we got home, we broke up. And then me and another member started our own band called Spirit. And we were still living in Colorado in the middle of nowhere. So we have to tour to like get in front of people. So we do Spirit, and we weren't seeing eye to eye on a lot of things, specifically like where we wanted to see the band going or like what the vision was. And one of the founding members, the guy that had joined Spirit with me from Comeback, was definitely like into different stuff than what the other three of us were into necessarily at the time. And we'd always talked about moving to Washington. So me and the bass player of Spirit moved out to Washington with, and this is right when Dead Lake started.
Okay.
We got a new guitarist from Arizona, Flagstaff, Arizona, to do the first Dead Lakes tour. And he had done like the last Spirit tour as a fill-in because our old guitarist had left, the one that had a lot of different influences than the rest of us. And this is a crazy story, but anyways, we moved to Washington, and 3 days later, we start the first Dead Lakes tour. Me and the bassist were the only official members of Dead Lakes at the time. And then Max, our guitarist from Flagstaff, Arizona. But it was insane. So like we got a guitarist that we had met through DIY touring to join the band for the tour. He hooked us up with some random drummer that is now actually our permanent drummer. We had never met these people before, and we like literally moved to Washington, and we practiced in the basement of this house that we had it was my first time seeing it, that we were renting. And then we leave 3 days later for a tour with like people we don't even know that are now like family to us, you know?
Yeah.
It's insane, but yeah, I love this. I love doing this stuff, and I've always done it just for the passion of it. And it's cool that it's led to this, you know? So thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me just go on that long spiel. But that's how Dead Lakes started and how the musical journey got here.
I love it. Well, tell me, okay, so was Spirit the band that had booked the tour, or how did you book a tour as Dead Lakes without a full roster?
It was definitely a interesting transition, but like we had, we still knew a lot of DIY promoters through Spirit. So they just kind of trusted that Dead Lakes was going to be somewhat of a continuation of it, which it kind of was in a way. So we definitely we recorded a couple tracks, Vacancy and Find Serenity, with the same people that did the last Spirit record. We kind of just, we didn't even have a song out when we started that first Dead Lakes tour. And we put a song out like the day before we left for that tour. And I think that was Vacancy. So we just toured off like the one single, and I think we even still played some Spirit songs. So, cause 3 out of the 5 had at least been in Spirit by the end of it. Max was really new to it. He was just a fill-in. He never played on the records, but he was still a part of it. And you know, in a way, doing tours with us and stuff, you kind of are a part of it no matter what, because that stuff is tough, DIY touring. But it's pretty crazy. But so that's how we transitioned over to Dead Lakes, was we did Vacancy and Find Serenity, and we put them out through this thing called BVTV, which was like huge when I was in high school, with all the Warped Tour videos and things like that. Shout out to Alex. But yeah, I just remember AK-99 Superstar. I don't know if that rings a bell to you, but when I was like a high school kid, like doing the deep dives on YouTube of bands in our scene and stuff, like his stuff just always came up. So it was like, that was like the first like really cool moment that happened for me. Was the very first thing that Dead Lakes did was through him. So yeah.
So he was like I'm not, he was just like a YouTuber.
Yeah. He just had like he wasn't even really like, he wasn't like, he never really showed his face on it, but he just put out really good content, like for scene bands, like some cool, like live videos from Warped Tour and things like that. And like, I was just like, man, this is crazy that he's down to premiere the first Dead Lakes music video and whatnot. So Dead Lakes has just had good karma going for us the whole time. Whereas my other bands, unfortunately for the members in those bands, and myself during those times, we had very bad luck and karma. And Dead Lakes just started out on good vibes. So
sure, that's awesome. That's great. Well, tell me about when did you start learning to play music? Like, what was the first instrument you learned to play?
That's a great question. So, I mean, as terrible as that is, I really like, I was in like band, marching band, jazz band, all that stuff all throughout, like middle school, high school. It's actually that was a big staple in me going on a good path in my life. Cause, I had kind of a crazy childhood, and like that gave me some like stability and direction. But, so I picked up a trumpet when I was in 6th grade, vibed it, but not super hard. And so then I played baritone, and then, marching band was super sick. All the band camp stories that you ever hear it's a real thing. Like I just remember like my eyes being open to, more, I will say, adulthood, when I was a freshman in high school going to band camp, and the culture that like, kind of lived in that world. But, anyways, then I picked up trombone and jazz band, but I didn't really like start writing songs myself until about sophomore year of high school. I started like my high school band, and honestly, I wasn't like a main songwriter. I didn't really. I've always been good at like helping people put the pieces together. Like, this is where a verse should go, or a chorus, or this is kind of what it sounds like it should go into. But at that point in time, I wasn't like playing guitar or playing piano really like heavily. But yeah, I picked up guitar and piano about my senior year in high school, and that's when I really started writing songs for myself, and actually becoming what I like more of a songwriter. You know what I mean? So before that, I just like I knew I enjoyed singing. I've been singing since I was like 3. Just like here and there, I just really always loved singing, especially like R&B music. And then, so it wasn't really until senior year in high school that I really got my feet under myself as far as songwriting goes. My grandma bought me a Fender Telecaster, American made. Like it was expensive.
Expensive one.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like, I don't know. My family, like, I don't know. It's pretty funny, but basically with it being that expensive, I knew like, okay, I really got to take this seriously and actually like make the most of this. I don't want like to have had my grandma get me something like this, and then I just like, oh, it was cool for a few months, and then I'll pick it up in a couple of years.
Sure.
So yeah, basically senior year of high school is when I kind of got my feet under myself as far as songwriting goes.
Right on. Well, tell me about the first tour you did. Was that?
Oh man,
what band was that with?
So I was in a band called Comeback, and
okay,
there's 4 members. And so, I fronted, I was the lead singer and playing, like lead / rhythm guitar. We would like trade off. It was really weird. I was playing lead while singing. It was a crazy experience, but, so the first tour was wild. Like, it's crazy how much like you're your own booking agent, you know what I mean? And you're not even going for guarantees. Like you're like, yo, dude, if we could somehow just get a 50-50 door split, like that would be so sick. Or, honestly, if you want to keep everything and just feed us and make sure that like 20 people show up, like that's cool. But yeah, we were playing like crazy venues, and just like, basically the way it all works is, being a DIY band, like real DIY, you just find another DIY band who's trying to tour. You help them out by booking them a show in your town. They help you out by booking a show in their town for you. And that's kind of how we did that whole tour. We got really lucky. I remember like DMing like small local bands in areas, just being like, yo, would you please hop on a bill with us? Like, we got a promoter that's down. He's got a venue, but he doesn't want to put in the work to get like the lineup. So we're figuring it out. Will you jump on a bill with us? Like, that's how that whole tour was. And it was cool. It really taught me like, hard work. And like, if you want something, like, you can have it, you just have to work really hard for it. And it might not always look exactly like what you want it to look like, but, there's a lot of reward in like the process of it. And just, I don't know, I think working hard makes you feel good, but yeah, that's how the whole tour was. And we were like sleeping in rest areas. Like it was insane. I don't know. We were sneaking into like YMCAs to take showers.
How long did you guys go on tour? How long was the tour?
It was a 3-week tour. And
wow.
It was like the whole West Coast and like Western, like United States sort of thing. But yeah, it was insane. But honestly, we were very fortunate to have met a lot of good people through it. That's how I met like the guys in Wolf and Bear, was doing DIY touring like that. A band called Lifelink from Arizona. That was an amazing band. Like all these cool like bands that did like little cool things here and there that, I don't know, just elevated us and helped us learn a little bit. But yeah, it was such a crazy experience.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're still doing the DIY touring when you started Dead Lakes too, right? With
Yeah.
First tour.
100%. Yeah. We went out with a band that we had met from our past band from St. George, Utah they were called Shine Bright at the time. Now they're called Later, L8ER. They're on We Are Triumphant, I believe. But yeah, we did our first tour, our first Dead Lakes tour with them because we were just homies. They were called Shine Bright at the time, and it was our first Dead Lakes tour. And yeah, it was such a crazy experience. Again, like those sorts of things are wild. That tour did really good, and the tour before that did really good. The tour before that one was horrible. We went out with a band called Castaway from San Jose. They are the homies, and especially like the lineup at that time. So like that wasn't the bad part, but it was my first time letting somebody book my DIY tour, and man, it was a nightmare. We had so many drop shows. Like our first show already, we were from 18 hours away from Colorado to the first show in San Francisco.
Oh my God.
But we already knew like this tour was going to be like not very good. There was already a lot of holes and stuff. So we literally we took our van up the coast. Like we went up the one,
sure. Yeah.
Up to San Francisco in our 15 passenger van. Like, oh man, I'm surprised that that van made it through that tour. But that was like, it's crazy. That kind of really taught me like how to appreciate what we have and like what's coming to us and everything, because it hasn't always been like that, you know. And going up the one, like those are some of the most beautiful like moments of my life. Like going to all those different beaches. We slept by the beach one night and stayed up till like 4 a.m. You know, on the beach when nobody else is there, and I don't know, just crazy little things like that. Just like really make you appreciate the things that I think you're not taught to appreciate. Like I think you're taught to like appreciate, oh man, I got to get big. And then I appreciate all this money coming in. I appreciate how big these shows are. And I appreciate those things too. But man, I really learned a lot about appreciation on those tours.
Yeah, totally. Have you done any other touring out? Like, tell me about the first, bigger tour that you guys got a chance to do.
Honestly, I'm so glad that you asked, because we still haven't had that. But we, it's like, so our last tour that we did was our first like cool tour, like our first cool guy tour, because we went out with 1,000 Below, and not really, it's kind of a sore subject, but Capsize as well. And we're used to DIY touring. We're like, oh my gosh, like we're going out with signed bands. Like this one band's on Rise, one band's like I think they're on Equal Vision. And we're like, oh, this is going to be, so sick. We like, we put a lot of money into getting merch and stuff. And the shows, no knock on either of the bands or anything like that, but they're both kind of young at the time, and neither one of them like really had a lot of like natural draw at the time. 1,000 Below is definitely in a different spot than they were back then as far as that's concerned. I went out on a tour with them as a merch guy when they went out with Gavin Dance, and it was
cool.
It was intense. It was insane. It was the craziest time of my life. But yeah, all the spots that we went on with 1,000 Below and Capsize, two signed bands, Rise Records, Equal Vision Records, it felt like straight up we had DIY tours that had better turnouts than those. And we were playing we played some coolish venues on that tour too. But yeah, literally like the turnouts were literally less than some of our DIY tours. It was insane. So like, I can't tell you how excited we are when we do end up getting like that first tour where there's like literally 100 people a night. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like I will go insane. I'll be so stoked. You know what I mean? And again, it comes down to that appreciation thing. So yeah, we still haven't experienced like the first big tour, but I think going on that Gavin Dance tour as a merch guy like really showed me what's possible, and I'm living for it,
Sure. And you guys are now you're signed.
Yeah.
Tell me about getting signed to SharpTone.
It's crazy, like I feel like you kind of become jaded like the older you get, obviously, and it's a real like you really have to put intention and purpose on not being jaded. Like I have to remind myself all the time, like 16-year-old me would be like freaking out with like where the band is at, you know, and where I'm at musically with things, because that was my dream. Like when I was that age, you know, like I said, my first high school bands, we sound like Devil Wears Prada and, you know, like Bless the Fall and The Word Alive, bands like that. That's Fearless Records, Rise Records, like that whole scene, and SharpTone.
Oh yeah, all those.
And yeah, Fearless, Rise, like, and I mean, the list goes on, but the point is, I guess, is that SharpTone like is one of those labels. You know, it's in that realm. It took artists from a lot of those labels when it opened on day one, which was insane. Like I remember seeing that happen. Like I consciously remember being like, whoa, what the heck is SharpTone? Like they got Miss May I, they got We Came as Romans to come over. Like they got all these
bleeding
like
through.
Yeah, they got all these huge acts to like come over from like other big labels. Like you got to keep an eye on that. And so yeah, it's very humbling to be signed to SharpTone, like straight up. And honestly, they've been stupid good to us. I know that like you're supposed to say those things and you're supposed to whatever, but like I genuinely mean it. Like Sean is like the best dude. His partner Beth is actually our booking agent. She's the coolest person. Me and her get along so well, and all of them like really like believe in the music and believe in us, and that above anything, even being on SharpTone is just like means the world to us. But yeah, my mind is blown that we're here, and that's why I'm talking this much, because I'm just pumped.
I love it. Well, how did you guys how did SharpTone like contact you guys?
Yeah.
How did that all happen?
Yeah. I love talking about industry stuff because I feel like some people like try to, I don't know, people try to keep this stuff like, I don't know, hush hush or whatever the case may be. But basically this is the straight up way it worked. So if for anybody listening that might be like in a band that wants to know how this industry works, it's everything that you think it is, unfortunately, in some ways. And in other ways, I mean, you know, for one, your music has to be there. Like you have to have some standard for yourself as far as the quality of music that you have. But there are gatekeeper things and who you know things that are real, you know. This is how it worked. Daniel from Capsize posted on his story, I'm basically like, I'm bored of music right now. Send me some good bands. And if it's your own, it better be good, basically. And our guitarist Max sent him, I think, Still Raining and Bite My Tongue. And Daniel from Capsize really liked it. He DM'd our guitarist Max back and was like, yo, I really dig what you guys are doing. Like, I need to get you guys in touch with, or do you have like a time that I could call? So then I talked to him and he's like, yo, you guys are awesome. I need to get you in touch with our manager. Like, and I don't know, there's so many times in your like career of music or whatever, your journey of music, that things like this fall through or they don't end up happening. Like, straight up, I'll say, and the dude from Hotel Books, like, was like trying to get Spirit signed to, what record label were they on? That one based out of Ohio. I can't remember what they're called right now. They have like the flame logo, In Vogue Records or whatever.
Okay.
You know, and like that didn't end up panning out. I know he tried, and he was a good dude to us. I know, whatever. But basically, this one actually worked out. Daniel got us in touch with Royal Division, and rest in peace, because now those guys have moved on to Rock Nation. So we're no longer with them. But basically, we actually got in touch with Capsize's manager, and lo and behold, he also manages humongous bands. Like, now he manages Animals as Leaders, Emarosa. He just put out a song from the singer from the Cabs, like solo stuff through Rock Nation today. Like,
oh, wow.
Huge, like he's been working with like some huge acts on his own too. Like before that, like when we were with him, and I was like, what the heck? Like, how is this happening? Like, how is this life right now? But anyways, so that manager heard about us. He dug what we were doing too. And he helped us out with putting out the Nothing is Sacred EP and The Devil Has Blue Eyes. Both of those things came out through Pale Chord, which was his label, or is his label. He currently has like Spirit Box on there, and they're like amazing. Like I Wrestled a Bear once. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, I don't know how we got him, but we did. So that was insane. And he and it was a long process. I kind of don't think like, honestly, I think if we had been shopping New Language and not shopping Nothing is Sacred, we probably would have gotten a deal 1 million times faster. But Jason, our ex-manager, had been shopping around Nothing is Sacred to all the labels, and a couple of them like had meetings about us and then didn't end up getting back to us, whatever. But SharpTone pulled through like after like, I want to say like a year almost of Nothing is Sacred being out. And it was pretty crazy because when you're not like, I mean, obviously people are in this for money. Like you don't want to manage a band, or you don't want to like sign a band if you don't think it's going to be profitable for you at some point. Like that's just how it works. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Straight up. And I get that. So like being a band that's not really getting picked up or having reception, like we kind of felt like, oh man, we might lose like our management. We might lose like our one window of opportunity that we've had. Like this was like literally 3 months before recording New Language, which is insane. Like we were feeling all these things. And then SharpTone, we saw the email from Sean to our manager, Jason, and he was like, you know, I'm into this sort of music. Let's give it a go. And that's how we got SharpTone. Like, his first time hearing us, he was into it. And that's really cool. Cause I like riding for people that like ride for us too. And so it was just really cool. Like seeing from day one that, Sean was at least intrigued in what we were doing and seeing it through. So yeah, so that's how we got hooked up with SharpTone. That's the long story, but I wanted to tell it all so that everybody knows how that stuff works and how it worked out for us, because we're very lucky, and that's how sometimes these things unfortunately work, is sometimes luck. Obviously our music was there and whatnot, but we had a lot to work on, and we still do. So yes, very lucky and very fortunate.
That's awesome. So Nothing is Sacred is the EP, or the 3 songs that drew the attention of SharpTone.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you guys just put out New Language, right? Earlier this year.
Yeah, so literally like less than a month ago still. So it's
wow.
It's pretty crazy, and the reception has been really, really cool. It's been amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. Just like none of our art has ever been like received like this, you know. And so it's just cool, you know, like, again, fortunate, because when you're in a DIY band and you're working so hard and you're working for yourself, like, unfortunately, sometimes you just don't get the rewards that you get, the rewards that you deserve, honestly, because of the hard work you put in. And so it kind of feels like that payoff from all those days that we did work that hard and really didn't get much traction under our feet, you know?
Totally. Yeah, totally. Tell me about recording that album. Was it different than the recording the 3 songs from the EP?
Yeah, super different. So we went to Casey Bates for Nothing is Sacred, and that was like a really cool experience, because Casey Bates did like the Pierce the Veil's like first record. He did Chiodos. I think he did Bone Palace Ballet, which is like my favorite record from them. He's just done like a lot of like really cool stuff. He did all like the pre-pro stuff for Portugal the Man, like
wow,
on like their most recent stuff, like all that
Still
stuff.
record.
Like, yeah, that Feel It Still record. Like, and he had been working with them since the early days, since they were on like Equal Vision, I think, and stuff like
because they had like 5 albums up before they even blew up on that one song.
Yeah, he was riding with them like the whole time, and like when we were recording Nothing is Sacred, he had been working with them, and like they were flying him out here or there, but he lives in like Seattle, basically, in a little suburb outside of there. And so we just like would go to his home studio and record some stuff. And it was a really good time. He's like literally one of like the nicest people I've met in my entire life. Like I really genuinely like that guy. And we both worked at Old Navy at some points in our lives. And we had like the same dumb stories about the dumb things that we would do there. Like one time Casey Bates took the walkie-talkie from Old Navy and was just messing with them like from outside the store and stuff like that. I can't remember the details of the story, but yeah, Casey, shouts out to Casey Bates. He's like the coolest dude. He actually recorded the R&B version of SMS Happiness that was SMS Happiness before SMS Happiness was SMS Happiness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Max were working on on a side project called the Night Project that is still not a thing yet. And we wrote SMS Happiness, and we have a whole version that's like mixed, mastered by Casey Bates. That's like a pop R&B version of that song, because that's what originally it was. And then the guys from Thousand Below heard the song, and they told Jason, because we have the same manager, about it. And Jason made me send it to him, and he's like, "Yeah, this has to be a Dead Lake song." So yeah, we released it as SMS Happiness and rewrote it a little bit. But the recording process with Erik for New Language was vastly different. So like I said, we're working in like Casey Bates' like home studio. We weren't like going somewhere and spending 2 weeks there, and you know what I mean, we were still very much at home in our normal vibe, our normal day-to-day lives. And I don't know, something about that is cool, but it's also something about that is very like, I don't know, whatever the opposite of, I don't know, kind of stale in a way, and not because of Casey or anything like that. It's just like, you're just living your, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like an event. It doesn't feel as special, So we flew out to LA. Did we fly? Yes, we flew out to LA. I had to think about it because we drove down there for music videos, like a few months after that, which was insane. But anyways, yeah, we flew out to LA, and we stayed inside of the studio, Erik Ron's studio in Hollywood. And it was just such a cool time because we were there for like 2 weeks. This is the first time that anything like this has ever happened in our lives, where we're in LA to record a record. Like, what? Like, what is that? Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, we're in LA just chilling in Erik Ron's studio for 2 weeks, staying up, like writing songs. We all worked really hard. We all had a really good time. Like, the vibe was just really good. You know what I mean? It felt more like an event. It felt more special. And I mean, obviously working with Erik Ron is insane. He had just like gotten done doing the Godsmack stuff, and he had just gotten done doing like the new Fire from the God stuff, which was coming out through a big mainstream rock label. And we're like, wow, like this is crazy, especially coming from such DIY roots. But and he'd recorded like some of our favorite scene bands, like, Too Close to Touch and the Word Alive stuff. And he's insane. Erik Ron's insane. But his assistant, co-producer, and usually he engineers the projects, Anthony Reeder, that dude is a vibe. I love that man. We love him so much. Like, he really brought the record to life. Like, he did a lot of the production stuff on the title track, New Language. But yeah, it was just such a good experience. Like, it's just us five guys away from our partners, away from our day-to-day lives, our jobs, just like getting to focus on the thing that we want to become our lives, which is the band. You know what I mean? And it was just such a crazy experience. Can't even explain it. There's so many good stories I have from that time. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happened, and yeah, it was a good time. But recording with Erik Ron was insane. He is everything that people say he is, in all the right ways.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you had that experience. Yeah, I'm sure that's pretty rock star to go down to LA and, be in this guy's studio and recording a record. That must have felt really cool.
And we don't have a car, but you can walk 3 blocks and you're at a vegan food truck festival thing. Like, it was insane. We had so many vegan hot dogs, so many. There's this place called Lettuce Feast. They're like a truck in LA, and they do like hot chicken sandwiches. Obviously
sure,
chicken. But those sandwiches were insane, and we just felt spoiled when we were out there. You know what I mean? It was insane. It was such a vibe.
That's awesome. So was it weird putting out your record in this quarantine?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the musical journey in and of itself has kind of felt like that sort of scenario over and over, where it's like, when cool things happen, there's always like a caveat or something, or there's like always some asterisk by it. But yeah, it is kind of weird. Like, obviously there's pros and cons to any situation. The pros are that you kind of, all the internet reactions have been insane, and there's been a lot more engagement as far as the internet goes, and everybody's stuck at home, so they have a longer attention span for checking out new music, because they're not finding it while they're on the go, and then listening to like 5 seconds in a loud environment. Like there's a lot of pros that do come with it. Don't get me wrong, but like, I wish we were on the road. We haven't toured since that 1,000 Below Capsize tour. And that was literally almost like 2 years ago. It would be really nice to like be on the road supporting this record, and getting that face-to-face interaction is just I think I've really learned the value of that through quarantine. I love playing shows, and I feel like that's where people really fall in love with us, because we're just like a fun, like easygoing, like easy to relate to band. Like, I don't know, we just have a good time. And so I feel like we have kind of lost something there, as far as I feel like we could gain a lot of traction from being on the road off this record, because of the type of people that we are. Like we're easygoing, and we like to kick it. We like to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we like to smoke pot. We like to chill. We're just those guys, everything that you picture us, you know, every stereotype of a stoner. Like, that's just who we are as people. We're just like, yeah, cool, dude. So nice to meet you. Yeah. You want to grab a drink at the bar? Sure. Let's do it. You want to go talk for an hour at the merch table? Let's do it. Like, whatever, man. Like, yeah, easygoing, chill vibes. I feel like we've kind of, that's like something that we have going for our band that we haven't been able to display yet, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, it's been crazy, but quarantine, yeah, pros and cons, and it's definitely like a whole different lifestyle for everybody in every way. And it's so interesting to see how different aspects of our life like adapt to a situation like this.
Yeah, totally. Are the rest of the people in your band, are they all in Washington State also?
Yeah. So now all of us are in Washington. And me and our guitarist Max live together, and our master bedroom is the home studio. So that's where we do all the pre-pro work. So like honestly, like quarantine's been good for us as far as creating goes. Like we've learned so much. We bought new plugins for the DAW, and like we've just been ripping on some songwriting stuff, like being inspired by some new flavors and stuff. So yeah, in that regard, quarantine's been really good for us. Yeah, I've still been working, but it's okay.
Yeah. Have you been able to go like on live on Instagram or anything like that? Have you been doing any of that?
Yeah. Like, we've been taking, like our management said that we're crazy, but we've been like taking every single opportunity that's been coming our way, just because we think it's fun. And it's like, I don't know, I think that stuff's important. Like, we're a small band, and anybody that is willing to give us like time, like I think that's so cool. But yeah, we've done like literally probably 5 live streams on different like outlets, like platforms. We actually just did one yesterday. We've got one that should be on the air anytime. I'm not sure exactly when it technically goes live today, but there's like a mayhem music fest thing going on.
Oh,
Theory
cool.
of a Dead Man headlining. Rock
on. That's cool. And it's just like online?
Yeah. So it's like on this thing called Mayhem Music Festival. Like it's like a Facebook page, and like and basically it auto shares onto all the band's Facebook pages. So there's like actually a really big size audience. And yeah, there's, I don't know, not like a lot of bands our size basically are doing it. And then for some reason, Theory of a Dead Man.
That's rad. But how did they do it? Was it just you guys in the studio?
Yeah. So actually what we did, so we routed our home studio in our master bedroom. We routed cables to our living room to get the audio. And then because our living room has like a nice tall ceiling, so we wanted that sort of vibe. And we just filmed all of us playing in our living room. And I think we're going to put up like the video that we did on IGTV as well when all of this is done as well. So when like after they have their rights to it or whatever, because it was pretty cool. We put a lot of effort into it. We like to do things ourselves. So we filmed it ourselves and we did the audio ourselves, but honestly, it sounds like a really nice live session. The video work is pretty good for us doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I put it up on my computer right now. It looks like Shim is currently on.
Okay, yes, I think we're on like a little later.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2 acts in front of you guys.
Okay, cool. Thank you for knowing that, because honestly, I'm
gonna leave it up. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, please check it out. It was really cool. You'll see what I mean. But Here, yeah. You can see my video, right? So this is where we filmed it. Right here, where these lovely young ladies are.
Oh, that's
right here in this spot. And then we recorded it right in this spot. This is the home studio rig here.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so you'll get to see that on the screen, and then you'll have some reference points. But yeah,
cool. How many songs do you guys play?
We just did 2. We just, for the fact that we put a lot of extra work into making sure it sounded good and looked good. We just wanted to make sure that we gave the best product available, and so we did Paradise and SMS.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it. Like I said, I'm watching it right now, where I can.
Heck yeah!
I can't hear it, but I can see the guy and Shim performing right now.
Yeah, I watched a couple earlier. It's definitely an eclectic festival. Like I said, some things like that, we don't necessarily fit on that lineup or that bill per se, but we've been trying to take everything that people are offering us. It's cool that people that obviously aren't necessarily into our lane of music offered us a chance to do that. So why would we say no when somebody went out of their way to have a band that doesn't necessarily fit in on that? We can't say no to that. That's humbling.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw Static Cycle is on there too. I've interviewed the guy from that band as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Pretty cool little mix of artists you got going on that.
Yeah. That's way
cool. So you just been doing as many of these things as you can, as far as the Instagram live things or the Facebook videos.
Yeah. I just feel to me, I just feel the most successful people are obviously the people who work really hard and keep trying to learn and keep trying to grow and keep trying to do what they can to make things happen. So we've been trying to take every opportunity we can. We've been working on reimagined versions of some new language tracks. We even sent a couple of the tracks off to a friend who does some pretty cool DJ work. Cool. So he's gonna do some remixes for us. And we have 20 ideas already for LP1, and we're working on an Instagram live TV show thing where we
cool.
where we'll go live, but it'll be segmented out. So we'll play a song, we'll answer some questions that we get previous to starting it, and we'll do some dumb game thing, and we'll have just little different segments basically. So working on that right now. And just trying to, I don't know, it's just fun working on this stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
right on, man. Well, thanks so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it. And
thanks for making
your studio
time.
And stuff. Oh yeah, man. And sorry about my computer issue there earlier.
Yeah, you should be very sorry for that. That was totally in your control. Technology is always perfect, so it's definitely human error. No, seriously, after having a studio, I can never make anybody feel bad for that stuff because things crash all the time. That's just the way technology goes. So don't be sorry for a second. I'm just humbled to be here. So thank you seriously for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I appreciate it. Yeah. Sorry again.
You're
just working. It was why will it not? It was not launching the program. But anyway, I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm sure that most people really genuinely try to give the best advice. I'll give the least metaphorical or whatever advice. I'll just say this: invest in your product first. Invest in your music first. Make sure that stuff sounds good. Make sure you get opinions on it before putting it out. I promise you that is step number 1, and you won't get to step number 2 until that happens. So just make sure your product is a beautiful thing that really embodies who you are and has that unique flavor to it.